definitely one thing here that we are grateful for. So thank you, Nick, and thank all of you. Yes, indeed. Well, did you notice that Gail came upon a fork in the road when she was up here, didn't she? And she handled it so well. Well, I'd like to start off with a little poem by Stephen Taylor. It goes like this. I came upon a fork in the road, left or right, fate untold. So I stood for a moment and pondered my case. I came to realize I had come to the place, a simple decision, left or right, and the person I am will then come to light. Well, I'm imagining this is what was going through Alice in Wonderland's mind when she was walking that path in the woods that day. You might remember she walked along and she came to the Cheshire Cat. And right where the Cheshire Cat was, there was a fork in the road. Oh, there she is, looking up at that cat. So she had a little conversation with the cat. She said, please, would you tell me which way I ought to go from here? And the Cheshire Cat looked at her and said, well, that depends a lot on where you want to get to. And Alice said, well, it doesn't really much matter where. And the cat said that famous line, well, then, it doesn't really matter which road you take. Right? So I don't know if you've ever felt that way. You know, you're wanting to try new things. You're wanting to go in new directions. And at times, you feel stuck, not sure which direction to take. Should I go this way? Should I go that way? Should I go the wrong way? Certainly you don't want to go down the rabbit hole. But then there's the path to Wonderland. Maybe that's the path to transformation. Now, I can relate to Alice because I remember a time when my spiritual path wasn't clear. I wasn't sure which way to go or what I wanted to do. I was at that fork in the road. Now, I had at that time, before Unity, I call it religion in my life. And it certainly was one path I could have gone down. But quite frankly, I was looking for something more. My inner Cheshire Cat was telling me to follow my heart. Even though either path could lead to transformation, I was seeking spiritual transformation. And then I found Unity. And little did I know all the wonderful little curves and paths that I would go down. And so I wonder, have there ever been times in your life when you have been searching for a new direction, possibly a different direction, thinking to yourself, which way should I go? And what should I do next? Many times we are longing to do something different, to try something different, to make a change for ourselves, for some type of transformation in our lives. And this was what the Apostle Paul was talking about, spiritual transformation, when he reminds a gathering of people in Corinth that within them is an innate ability to express God. So the Bible verse I'm led to share with you today comes from 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 15 and 16. Indeed, to this very day, whenever Moses is read, a veil lies over their hearts. But when one turns to the Lord, the veil is removed. Now, in the Hebrew Bible, veils were used to symbolically cover the teachings of the church. And veils were also used literally to cover the face, as you can see. When someone's face is covered, you really can't see the person inside. And when a veil covers your own face, a covering of some type, then it makes it hard for the person inside to see their way out because they are looking through a fabric that isn't completely transparent. If you have ever worn a veil or a covering of any type over your face, you've experienced how murky your view can be. Would you agree? Yes, indeed. Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore said in The Revealing Word, this metaphysical definition of veil, that in the body which has shut out the light of spirit. And in his message to the people of Corinth, Paul is using the veil figuratively in an attempt to get the people to open their minds and their hearts to see clearly through to spirit within, to go deeper, to seek the truth from spirit beyond the veil. I love that song, Lifting the Veil. He knew that otherwise they wouldn't be able to live the life they were meant to live. Now today, thousands of years later, a lot of veils still exist in the assumptions we make in our own minds about what's going on and about the reality of life. And our assumptions are usually built in fear or based in fear. Fear about family conditions, fears perhaps about the economic conditions we're finding ourselves in, fear of getting sick or dying, perhaps fear of family members getting sick or dying, fear of making the wrong decision, fear of whether or not we will be accepted by others, the fear of making mistakes. My goodness, the list goes on and on. And so sometimes it's just the systems that we live in thrive on fear. Now, A Course in Miracles, and some of you may have taken some of these courses, A Course in Miracles teaches, I love this lesson, there is only love or fear. So we must embrace love instead of fear. Think about this, divine love, universal love, the kind of love we find when we are making that journey to finding out who and what we truly are. Now, I love this. 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, Margaret Jenkins gave that message, what's love got to do with it? And then she followed it up with everything. Everything. So, well, as it turns out, that's really true. And that just has been with me ever since I listened to that message. So thank you, Margaret. It is the journey of love. So yet sometimes there's a certain irony, isn't there, when we're making this journey. Every time we feel that we have made our destination, yahoo, I'm there. No. Okay? The gap gets extended, doesn't it? Just a little bit further. This is part of the spiritual process. And it will go on as long as there is life in our bodies. So sometimes we may view this constant movement as obstacles or roadblocks to fear. But perhaps instead, we might want to consider feeling joy in going through the process. Because encountering obstacles and frustrations are what force us to think differently. Have you had that happen? I mean, just think for a moment of something in your life that felt as if it was an obstacle for you, and how that shifts when our thinking changes. It helps us to raise the veil, doesn't it? That's what we want to do. We want to raise the veil and see things in a new light. We discover that we think differently, and discover, this is the best part, we discover resources and clarity that we might not have had before. Got to step through that discomfort. And when we are able to see things differently, we grow spiritually and become closer and more expressive of the Spirit of God within us. Now, I remember having that nudge, that spiritual nudge, when I decided to pursue ministry. Now, there was a lot of, well, let me just say this. There was fear around pursuing that. I allowed so many of the tiny little veils to get in my way. So I want to share a few of them with you, not all of them, just a few. One of them was, Anne, really, do you think you can do 1,000 hours of classes? Come on. It just looked like the road was so far ahead. And the other one was, Anne, do you realize how old you'll be when you finish? And then it was veil, old. So that was pretty interesting. So I will actually share that magic number with you when I'm up here and I have graduated. So we'll wait till then. And so on and on it went. I built quite a case for myself. Oh, and I gathered lots and lots of evidence to support why I shouldn't do it. and why there was a fork in the road that I wasn't sure I was willing or able to take. Now, the Apostle Paul, in the very next verse, verse 17, says, "The Lord is Spirit, and where Spirit is, there is freedom." Now, if you were to look up metaphysically what Lord means, it means divinity within us. So as I read that verse, the divinity within us is Spirit, and where Spirit is, there is freedom. Paul's advice is still valid today. It's time to raise the veil of fear and live from the Spirit of God within us. And living from the Spirit of God within us is what enables us to truly live the life we were born to live, to attain our goals and our visions, have success, and find and experience our true passion in life. So I decided to lift those little veils, thank goodness, and when I came to the fork in the road, I made a decision. I knew I had to pick a direction and go forward. And in that decision, I created an opening. First, an opening for God. Second, an opening for Spirit within me. And a willingness, the big part, a willingness to express it outwardly. I created that opening through spiritual practices. Some of them just being a daily prayer practice, a meditation practice, whatever it might be to get me in touch with that divinity within. And I know as I look out here at each of you, you too have a daily spiritual practice. And so maybe it's time to look at what that is and how we all might want to amp that up just for ourselves. And here's the blessing. Once we do that, once we create that opening, once we allow our daily spiritual practices to come forward, our bodies, our minds, our hearts are all in alignment, and they are guided and uplifted by Spirit. And we are ready for a new direction. We are certainly ready for new adventures in our lives. Now, I want to read a little bit from the book, The Quest. Bob Lambert, if you're out here, I know you will enjoy this. It's by Mary Alice and Richard Jaffola. And here's what they say. Yes, you can change the direction of your life, but changes can't happen in the past or in the future. They can only happen in the now. At each now moment, there exists an unlimited amount of possibilities, which makes any time a good time for a new beginning. In fact, every moment is a new beginning. You are right now at the junction, and what I'm going to call the fork in the road, of what you were and what you can be. This junction of your life, this now moment, is ripe with possibilities. This now moment contains all the good you can ever hope to have. At each of these junctions, you decide what road you will take. And then they go on to say, the God which dwells within you and has given you a new vision of yourself will keep you on course, and with your cooperation, fulfill that vision. So as we prepare to go into our week, we might come upon a fork in the road. We might notice a little veil trying to drop in front of us. But what I would like to do and share with you and just have the energy of this community, let's do some power affirmations together. And they're going to come up in a moment on the board here. Oh, there's Alice again. So the very first one, I'm going to say it first. Just let it sink in for a minute, and then let's say it together. I release old ways of thinking and take my next step with faith and excitement. Together, I release old ways of thinking and take my next step with faith and excitement. Yay. Number 2, the divine in me knows the way to go. The divine in me knows the way to go. You know, in our humanness, we may think we're confused, we may think we're at a fork in the road, but divine in us knows the right and perfect direction for us. And number 3, now is the time, this is the place, I am the one together. Now is the time. This is the place. I am the one. Oh, I love those collective voices of affirmations, that's for sure. So I want to leave you with this. Now, this is a little version of my poem based on what Stephen said. So let's take this in for a moment. As you come upon your fork in the road, you're at that place where the now moment unfolds. So stand for a moment and ponder your spiritual space and come to realize you're in the right place. A simple decision. The moment is right. Your spirit-led vision brings lots and lots and lots of light. And so it is. And so we let it be. And so now let us turn to a time of meditation. These next few moments are just for you. A respite from the busyness of the day, whatever may have occurred before this. And so let's begin together by taking a deep and cleansing breath. And close your eyes if it is safe and comfortable for you to do so. And another deep breath. Allow the flow of thoughts to continue to stream through your mind. Just let them float away without any criticism or judgment. And again, just gently shift your focus to your breath. And notice your thoughts and feelings as they begin to soften. Relax. This is your peaceful pause. You know, we can only take one breath at a time. We can only be in one place at a time. You are here now in this moment. And with this breath, let your shoulders relax. Let your hands relax. Let your mind relax. Be present to the subtle energy of your own body. Be here as your breath breathes you. And your heart beats in steady rhythm. No thought, no effort, just be here now. Make the whole connection of spirit, mind, and body. Your holiness is ever present as you embrace spirit expressing as you. Feel the connection as spirit moves through every aspect of your life. And as we prepare for the silence, remember, you are whole and holy. You are filled with the love that is innate within you. So take a deep breath. Feel the wholeness of life flowing through you. Feel the energy and awareness of your body as you gently return your attention to the outer world here. Open your eyes when you're ready to do so. See a fresh new day ahead of you. The path before you clear. Your vision unobstructed. A day to be lived, one holy moment at a time. And so it is.
Flow, Spirit, flow through me as I open up to be an expression of